Good afternoon. It's McCollum on Business Wednesday edition. Appreciate you for joining me here today. I'm Stephen McCollum, and for the next 30 minutes or so, I'm going to get you updated on what's happening around the business world. It means we're going to look at the stock market, stocks we're paying attention to today, and of course, all the national and local stories you need to know here for this Wednesday. And a lot of obviously country to country talk out there with Venezuela, Greenland now on top of everything. China acting up a little bit with, we talked about the sanctioning of businesses and executives with Taiwan on Monday. Well, now Japan's kind of involved in that as well. We got all those stories coming your way here today. But first, let's get started with that Market Watch. And it's a day where the rally that's happened the last couple of days has kind of fizzled out, at least lost some momentum out there, right? But there is some good news. The S&P 500 did hit a record today on top of that. But as you can see, it's kind of mixed news out there. The Dow Jones right now is down 236 points, 49,260. The S&P 500 is up 7 points. It's at 6953. Then you got the NASDAQ's up 159 points here today, 23,706 for it. That tech-heavy index, well, there's a lot of stuff driving that here today. We'll talk a little bit about that with stocks here in just a minute. The Russell 2K, that small cap index, well, it's down 9 points to 2569. And then you got Bitcoin. All of the plus it's had the last couple days, well, right back down to 91,163 right now here on the stock market for Bitcoin. Is that just, it goes up into the 95,000 range at the end of the year, back down to the 90,000 range, and just Bitcoin and its volatility continues to work out there, but it is hovering in that 90,000 range here lately as well for it out there. A lot of breaking news happening right now in terms of the business world. But, in terms of stocks that we're looking at, I guess, here in this first segment, we're going to look at data storage and that type of stuff. Western Digital is the first stock we're going to look at here today, down 9.43%. What's interesting about these three stocks we're going to look at right now, they were all up big yesterday on Tuesday. So data storage, stocks here, like these three companies we're going to talk about, you see Western Digital is down 9.41% right now. Go ahead and throw Seagate up there. That's another one we're looking at right now, down 7.95% for it. Well, a lot of people are pulling out their money here today on these two specific stocks. They had big rallies yesterday, right? Western Digital, well, it was up over 17% on Tuesday, as you saw, down 9% here today. Seagate, well, fresh off yesterday's 14% jump, well, it's down, as you see here, 8%, 8.03% today. Huge increases yesterday. Sell-offs here today, not the full amounts. They still are up compared to what they were yesterday with the amount that they're down today, but big movements here in those two specific stocks. And then you got SanDisk out there, another data storage company. It was up 28% yesterday on the market. It's down 1.23% here today. So not as big of a drop here for SanDisk as it was for Western Digital and Seagate. But big movements up for these companies Tuesday on the market, and then some downhill here today, some worse than others for these three digital storage stocks out there. And obviously that's affecting, the market, the S&P 500, the Dow Jones, with these big movements happening over the last 2 days. So interesting that whole market is fluctuating like that here over the last 3 days. So later on, when we look at stocks and stocks we're paying attention to, we're going to look at a Bitcoin treasury company called Strategy. We're going to look at First Solar, of course, local company, deals with solar panels, etc. And we're going to look at GameStop, that meme stock out there. See what GameStop's doing. Well, they got some CEO news here today, so we'll check in with that stock as well. For those of you that play with those meme stocks, right, and still are involved in those, we'll let you know what's happening around GameStop here coming up later on as well. Breaking news before we get into some of these stories out there. I don't have a lot of info on it right now because it literally broke as the opening credits were rolling. President Trump says the U.S. is going to ban large investors from buying homes. He's talking specifically about these big investment companies, BlackRock, buying 15,000, 2,000 homes at a time, turning them into rentals. And obviously not having a lot of homes on the market, driving prices up before they unload them. things to that. So that is a headline right now as well. And then, some airline news out there in terms of frequent flyer miles and elite status recommendations. Basically, every airline is staying at the same levels this year as they were at last year. So, you big travelers out there, I'll let you know where we're at on that as well. So, those are two breaking stories out there. But since we were last year, of course, we were on Monday yesterday. Well, we unexpectedly had to take yesterday off. We're working on some stuff, toying with it around here, getting some other show possibilities in here and testing. And just yesterday, everything went long on us yesterday. And just we're not able to get this show in. So I apologize. We'll make sure, we'll structure things so that doesn't happen again moving forward. But I appreciate you joining me back here on this Wednesday. And, one thing we learned over the last couple of days, in terms of government, we talk about tariffs between countries and countries. Well, now we find out that U.S. multinational corporations, the Apples, Googles, big companies like that, well, they'll be exempted from paying more corporate taxes overseas. This is all a deal finalized by the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development, is the organization's name. Now, it's shortened to OECD. Well, they announced Monday that nearly 150 countries have agreed on the plan. It was originally put together back in 2021, and the idea in the original, 2021 deal, well, it's to stop large global companies, and that's basically hiding their profits to lower tax countries. For instance, running all their money through the Bahamas, for instance, and getting a lower tax rate there as opposed to, say, Switzerland, etc. So no matter where they operated at, they would do it. This deal is to stop that by kind of just saying, here's your flat rate here for these big companies. Well, this new amended version, it does exclude large U.S.-based multinational corporations from that 15% global minimum tax. So that is official now, and it's after negotiations between President Trump and his administration and other members of that group of 7 wealthy nations out there. This is recent version. Well, the deal waters down that 2021 agreement. That set a minimum global corporation tax of 15% at that time. And, now, we're talking, like I said Apple, Google, that would include Nike in that, for instance. And basically, this is watered down now, and the companies are now exempt completely from that 15% tax. But, this is an interesting thing happening out there, and will they go back to shifting their accounting and legal maneuvers to those low or even no tax havens out there? Or what will happen as we go forward? But that has changed here for these big companies. We learned yesterday as well. And a follow up on China, right on Monday, we talked about China going after American defense firms that were selling stuff to Taiwan. Give you that whole story. Well, yesterday, China has now gone out and banned exports of dual use goods, specifically goods that can serve military purposes to Japan. So these are goods that dual use, meaning civilians can use it and the military can improve with it as well. So China's done this move now, and it comes at the time of heightened tensions between China and Japan, all because of Taiwan. No shocker there, as we talked about that on Monday as well. Between China's just upset about Taiwan altogether. The Chinese Commerce Ministry said in a statement that exports of such items, as they're calling it, and like I said, they could serve both civilian and military purposes at the same time. Now, they say if you are giving that to Taiwan and you're going to get sanctioned, you're going to be banned here and things because the Japanese military uses a lot of these products to ship to Taiwan as well. And it's going to enhance Japan military powers in that same region. And then obviously help Taiwan out, if Taiwan is moved on by China. So it's not just Taiwan anymore. Now they're talking about and restricting what Japan can receive out there. Any individual or organization, China said, that violates the rule by transferring or providing these made in China products to Japanese groups and other people that would get them to Japan, they would face legal consequences regardless of where they are from. The notice did not identify any specific items that fall under this list, but some exports, things like technology sector stuff, right? Drones, navigation systems, for instance, they could be adapted from civilian into that military use of things. Why is this all happening? Well, it's all about Taiwan, as we've said multiple times. And relations between Japan and China, well, they've gotten worse over the last year or so. That was because Japanese Prime Minister at the time, well, he said military could get involved if China were to take action against Taiwan. Obviously, the United States will protect Taiwan as well. China's just acting out about anybody helping Taiwan or perceived to help Taiwan out here coming up. An interesting power play by China as they're kind of saber rattling, and I don't think anybody's believing in it or whatever. But it's interesting. It's fascinating how this is all happening right now at the beginning of the year, with these stories around Taiwan out there. Now Japan's involved in it as well. And now let's go a little south here to South America. And let's follow up here on Venezuela, right? As that all that action happened over the weekend, and now President Trump, late Tuesday night, last night, he said that Venezuela, if I can say it properly, will turn over 30 to 50 million barrels of oil to the United States. It'll be sold at market value, and with the proceeds controlled specifically by the U.S. Of those 30 to 50 million barrels. The U.S. will use the proceeds, they say, President Trump said, to benefit the people of Venezuela and the United States. Of course, he put this out on Truth Social last night. Energy Secretary Chris Wright, well, he's been directed to execute the plan immediately, and the barrels will be taken by storage ships brought directly to unloading docks here in the United States. A senior administration official that did speak under condition of anonymity, out there, so take it with a grain of salt. But they did tell CNN in a CNN report that the oil has already been produced, it's already been put in the barrels, and now it's on the shipping containers and it needs to go somewhere. The majority of it is currently already on boats, and it'll go to these U.S. facilities in the Gulf region to be refined at this point. So 30 to 50 million barrels sounds like a lot. To me, that's a lot of oil. Well, it's not a lot for what we consume, right? 20 million barrels of oil per day was consumed by the U.S. over the past month. From that perspective, we're talking a day and a couple of hours usage here of oil coming our way. So it's not going to drive down prices of oil at all, let alone a little bit here coming up. But Venezuela's oil production and process there, at least some of that's coming here to the United States and seeing how they're going. And I'm interested in seeing where the money would go, for to help Venezuela. Like, what do they mean by that, right? Hey, speaking of gas prices in that story, Gas Buddy came out with the average price of gas that they're predicting is going to be in the U.S. here in 2026. Gas Buddy, now this is a national average. Gas Buddy, I do have the Arizona number, but Gas Buddy says this year gas prices nationally, the national average is expected to dip below $3 and into the $2.97 per gallon. That's 13 cents decrease over last year in 2025. So not only that's a huge number. That would be the lowest level since 2020 at the same time. So like I said, we get all this from Gas Buddy out there. At the end of 2025, average U.S. prices at the pump, well, they dipped below $3 also at the end of 2025. And Gas Buddy cited refinery output being a big reason why, lower oil prices, robust crude production, and then they said softer seasonal demand were the main reasons behind the decline of the gas price there at the end of 2025. Gas Buddy did say drivers should expect some volatility, though, throughout the year, and we see that every year anyway, right? Seasonal demand, weather, obviously if geopolitical issues, right? Venezuela gets attacked, Middle East goes into a war situation, gas prices tend to go up in those situations. So it's not going to be all perfect, but there'll be some volatility like there always happens out there. And if you don't know, Gas Buddy has an app. They help drivers save money on fuel. Well, they tell you where it's cheaper fuel's at, etc. Well, they do predict gas prices will edge up to around $3.20. Again, national average here between spring and early summer. That always happens, folks, in that time frame anyhow. And then they'll fall down to an average of $2.83 after June. Same thing after the summer travel season. Prices tend to fall on a regular basis anyhow. Gas prices, with this volatility and cheapness, we haven't seen gas prices hover around the $3 range in a long time. Here's the problem, though. That's the national average out there. Gas Buddy put out the pricing for each individual state. So I know we got viewers in Illinois, and I appreciate that. I know we got viewers in Texas and other states out there, California, Nevada, Utah. Now I appreciate you guys watching us. I didn't do all 50 states here or anything. I just focused on Arizona as that's all I care about because that's where I live. As I be selfish here for a second. Well, Arizona's average price this year, according to Gas Buddy, will be anywhere from $3.09 to $3.38 here for 2026. So we won't fall below that $3 range as an average here this year here in Arizona, but something to keep an eye on as that is still a lower number than 2025. Later on in the program, we'll have a story specifically on what's happening with Arizona and our gas prices. And a lot of it has to do with California, folks. So stay tuned after the break. We'll get into that story out there as well. And just to follow up here on a company that was left for dead, closed all their stores back in 2023 range. Well, now they're coming back, right? And it is official. Bed Bath & Beyond. They have a couple stores in Tennessee that they've opened. They're doing some online presence out there. Well, on Monday, they did name their executive chairman, Marcus Lemonis. He's their new chief executive officer there running that Bed Bath & Beyond company. If you don't know that company, that Bed Bath & Beyond there, well, it owns the Bed Bath & Beyond, Overstock, Bye Bye Baby, and even Kirkland's Home are the brands under that brand there. So they do have other related brands. They do have a bunch of websites they have that kind of go into those sites and everything. They do blockchain and all that. It's a fairly big company, but they're trying to bring back specifically that Bed Bath & Beyond name out there. Lemon has said that the core business is stabilized, which that means now that they can go out and they can lay out plans to help return Bed Bath & Beyond to the world. Bed Bath & Beyond, if you don't know, was a leading home goods retailer and had many successful years before, like I said, going out of business and not having that profitable business and closing their doors back in 2023. Lemons did say that he plans to expand beyond just selling household goods. He wants to include high margin services, basically everything around a house, things like insurance, warranties, products, financing tools, also is what he wants to get into to help with those profitability numbers. He also said the company plans to build tools and services that help customers through major home related moments. He's going to connect them all through of course, what everybody's doing, AI technology. This would create additional revenue for the company, and it has been struggling for years before they file for bankruptcy, shut their doors, etc. And kind of coming back. So it's not just going to be your same Bed Bath & Beyond store. You're going to be able to look at other margin stuff out there, probably through the websites and things to that effect. But just a quick update. They have the CEO. It is Marcus Lemonis. You guys recognize him. He has that TV show and Camping World, he was the CEO of and owner of for a long time as well, and I think he still is. But very successful businessman trying to bring back that storied company here in the United States as well. And now, a lot of talk around air travel, with the government shutdown, safety, air traffic controllers. We've even had airports have to shut down because computers failures, etc. Well, here's an update for you. It might give you some more comfort here if you're afraid to fly or because of all those issues and don't want to fly. Well, it is official. The federal government has picked two companies. Those two companies specifically are going to replace 612 radar systems throughout the United States. These radar systems, by the way, they date back to the 1980s. Just imagine how much technology has changed since the 1980s, right? This is all part of a multi-billion-dollar overhaul of the nation's air traffic control system that has been talked about and needed for a long time out there. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy said that the Federal Aviation Administration said that Monday, contractors from RTX and a Spanish firm called Indra, well, they're going to replace the radar systems, and they're going to do it fairly fast for government work. They're going to have them all done. They want them all done by the summer of 2028. The administration set this ambitious goal by any stretch of the imagination because they did that, well, partly because it's near the conclusion of President Trump's current term in office. So it doesn't go into another term and they're able to cancel it or change it and things to that effect. Just get these upgrades done. The question is, can they do it, right? Government's not the fastest thing on the planet. Interesting enough, the FAA, they spend most of its $3 billion equipment budget every year. They spend it just on maintaining the old system that's currently out there. And it still relies on floppy disks in some areas of the country. Yes. When was the last time you saw a floppy disk? Some of the equipment or a lot of the equipment is old. It isn't even manufactured anymore, so you can't find parts. Nobody knows how to work on it because it hasn't been built in for so long. The FAA sometimes has to search for spare parts on eBay, folks. Ah, and you're in a plane flying across the sky at high speeds, right? All this is supposed to obviously upgrade the system and stop those technical failures that have happened, right? Remember the one there at Newark Liberty? It happened twice there. Knocked out the radar for the air traffic controllers. One was last spring. Another one was earlier. Might have been spring. Might have been early summer there. Obviously, that caused problems throughout the country when that happened. This is to update everything and get it back to that side. How expensive is this going to be? Well, we know the FAA has already committed more than $6 billion of the $12.5 billion that Congress approved to pay for the overhaul. And they haven't even gotten into the actual remodel of stuff, right? With these systems and everything. So we don't know how much the radar change out, the 612 of them, is actually going to cost. But so we know 6 billion of the 12.5 billion is already spent on things like wires, cables, etc. Well, Sean Duffy came out and said that another $20 billion on top of that 12.5 billion is going to be needed to complete this whole project and upgrades and everything. So they have replaced more than one third of the outdated copper wires that the system was relying on. So they went to more like fiber optic lines and faster, more modern lines than those 1980 ones out there. So, some hope for you if you're a little worried about the air traffic system and the state that it's in out there. Well, we're getting some upgrades here and new to things as well. And here's a story, right? Beginning of the year, a lot of people hitting the gym, New Year's resolutions. I want to lose weight. I want to work out. And last year, like 3 weeks or something. We talk a lot about the GLP-1 medicines, and they're all shot-based right now as everybody's racing to get a pill to be approved here in the United States because people would rather take pills than give themselves a shot every day. Well, the Danish drug maker has accomplished it first out there. Novo Nordisk is what we're talking about. They're launching its once daily Wegovy pill in the United States, and they did that yesterday. Or, I'm sorry, on Monday. So basically, it's coming out with a 1.5 milligram and a 4 milligram dose. And both of those are going to cost you about $149 per month. That's for self paying patients as well. And this is a very competitive weight loss drug market out there. And they're the first ones to bring the pill to market, by the way. And $149 for a month's supply. What does that mean? 4 pills in that time frame. The pill was approved by the FDA last month, and it's a big deal to Novo Nordisk. They look to regain a lot of ground because they lost a lot of that ground to Eli Lilly out there. Lilly has previously said it expects a decision for their pill to come up in March and whether they can sell a pill as well. So Novo Nordisk is getting the head start here. The pill, Novo's pill there of Wegovy, will be sold in 9 milligrams and higher. Long-term dose of 25 milligrams will be available at some point coming up here. The two, specifically the two higher doses, well, they'll be priced at $299 for a month's supply. And then the 4 milligram dose, well, it'll go to $199 from April 15th as well. So you can find all this information on the drug maker's website right now as well. The Wegovy pill could attract new customers, and that's what these companies need because people. It's going to open up the category where people tried it and they didn't like the shot, or people just don't like needles. Pill is going to open up a whole new category of people using this stuff out there, right? Novo Nordisk is trying to, revive its GLP-1 business and everything because profit warnings, sliding shares happened last year as well as they're just having to keep lowering the prices to compete with specifically Eli Lilly. The treatment offers more flexibility and an alternative for those who dislike those needles. I think this is going to be a success. But the success of this new pill, it's going to be tied to attracting cash-paying customers, not insurance customers out there, right? Cash-paying customers who cannot get insurance coverage. Their insurance is too much, so it's cheaper to go cash-based, etc. This is a big deal. It's a big shift from the dominant business model here in the United States where drug pricing is managed through health insurance plans. They're trying to make it affordable where you can pay cash for it and not go through your insurance, which no doubtably costs more money. So if this works, you're probably going to see more drugs move to that system as well. Novo did say that treatment would be available through U.S. pharmacies, CVS, and Costco. They even said they're going to do telehealth providers, things like Ro, LifeMD, Weight Watchers, GoodRx. Obviously, its own Novo Care pharmacy will have these pills as well. The two lower doses are available now. The bigger dose ones will be available later on in the next couple months and things to that effect out there. So if it's a new year, you want to get into that, you don't like needles, you've tried it before on the needle side, didn't like it, pill option is officially available for you out there. And, New Year's resolutions, everybody's got them going into the new year. And maybe that's one of yours. And maybe that'll help you out there. And, folks, when we come back here at McCollum on Business, we keep this show rolling. Some local stories, Lucid Group. You're going to start seeing some robo-taxis rolling around the Phoenix area. We'll talk about that here coming up as well. A couple other stories. And then scented candles. Sometimes they go wrong. We'll talk about that as well, folks. And McDonald's being sued. Hey, they say the lawsuit said their food isn't real. Who would have thought? We'll talk about that as well. Come on back, folks. We'll call them on business. And you just saw the commercials there for all of the programming that our company does here at Robat TV. You got the main event, right? Live 8 to 10 a.m. Today was a fun one. Talking about Cardinals and head coaching searches around the NFL. The transfer portal continues to baffle me out there. We talk a lot about that here earlier today as well. Suns play tonight against Memphis. Live 8 to 10 here at Robat TV. On demand now here at Robat TV. On demand also on the YouTube page where we do our programming stuff as well there, and then the free podcast system at the Pit Stop Talk. Excuse me, wrong show. At the TME Sports Show is where you find the main event. Pit Stop, getting ready to bring that back for the racing year here and within the next month. Stay tuned on that. Follow them at the Pit Stop Talk as well. Social media is that show, a race-based show coming your way as well this season for the racing season, and it kicks off here. We got to get the exact date here, but racing kicks off beginning of February here with the Daytona 500. IndyCar starts on March 1st coming our way. So if you're interested in racing, at the Pit Stop Talk, and that show also available here at Robat TV on demand on the YouTube channel, as well as a free podcast as well for them at the Pit Stop Talk, just like their social handles is there for you as well to talk racing stuff out there. This show, of course, as soon as we're done here, we're live at 11 o'clock. We're going to do some changes here. We're going to test some things out because I get stuff out there that says, hey, do a morning business show. Well, with the main event, it's hard to squeeze that in and out, right, and get that done. So we've been toying with that idea. That's actually what happened yesterday. We were trying to move some stuff around. It didn't work yesterday. But we're going to stay at 11 o'clock here for now for this program, live at 11 o'clock here on Robat TV. On demand right afterwards on Robat TV and the YouTube page. Next week, we're going to try something a little bit different. Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 11 o'clock like normal here on this program for our show. We're going to try a morning show on Tuesday, folks. Live 7 a.m. here at Robat TV on Tuesday. It's our test show. If it bombs, if it fails, if it's terrible, if I'm not awake yet, we'll reevaluate it at that point. But this Tuesday, 7 a.m., we'll do a pre-market business show, right? And see how that goes, see how it works out, work out those details. So this Tuesday, a little bit of a change coming up on this program, and just see how it goes. See how the ebbs and flows, and if we program works, etc. out there. So that'll be the change coming up next week. But you can always find it on demand here at Robat TV, and then of course on the YouTube page as well. And then the Real Matrix came out last year. 12 episodes are posted right now at Robat TV. Episode 13 will be out this Friday as well. Friday morning, we're going to do Friday morning at 10 o'clock is when new episodes are going to come out for The Real Matrix starting this week. Wednesday was kind of a tough day to get it out there after it's put together and get it posted. So we're going to move it to Friday at 10 o'clock is when they're going to be posted. Episode coming out this week. What we're doing is we're resetting that show. Not for any specific reason. Everything's going to be taken down for that show. He has an episode. The Angry Patriot has an episode where he has guests. John Dale Hillestray, of course, a 17-year NFL veteran, and John Holmberg, of course, from Holmberg's Morning Sickness, came in. They did just kind of a preview show of his show out there. That's going to be the show that comes out this Friday at 10 o'clock. And starting next week, Monday or so, or over the weekend, we'll put up the first 12 episodes out there, new descriptions. It's going to be split into two parts. So instead of an hour show, basically about 30 minutes part one, 30 minutes part two, on everything except for Robat TV. Robat TV is going to keep the original hour and the whole show all together. We've gotten good feedbacks for those of you that watch it on Robat TV that you prefer the hour format. And we've gotten for feedback that people need it split up a little bit, like the podcast is. At The Real Matrix on your favorite pod system, you can find that. And so on the YouTube page, we're going to split it up into the half-hour sides of it. We'll repost the first 12 out there again, along with the Holmberg one on Friday. All 12 will be reposted again, probably on Monday, and then we'll start on Friday with the new episodes moving forward as well. I know that's a little bit confusing, but it's good. It's fun. It's had good receptions here. We're just making some tweaks to it here as we move forward and see how it does work out there. But all of it here, Robat TV, YouTube page, free podcast systems as well. Enough of that yakking. Let's see what the market's doing today with the Market Watch. The momentum of the last couple days here of the new year, it's kind of slowed a little bit today. The Dow Jones is down the 321 points right now. S&P 500 did hit a record today, but it was at 7 points earlier when we looked at it. It's at 2 points now, 3 points now. So you see it's even coming back a little bit. The Nasdaq's at 130 points right now up. The Russell 2K, the small cap index, is down the 7 points, basically 8 points right now. And then Bitcoin also down today, back into the low 90,000 range, 91,256. We talked about the data storage companies, big up yesterday, big sell-off today, kind of reselling it. Let's look at these three categories as well. First company we're going to look at is a company called Strategy out there. They're a Bitcoin treasury firm is what these guys are, up 2.36%. But why this is in the news today, and if you're in this area, this will make sense to you. For those of you that, like me, that aren't all up on Bitcoin and that type of stuff, it's a little bit confusing. But MSCI backed away from its plans to remove digital asset treasury companies from MSCI indexes. That's a big deal in this world. If you're like me, you don't necessarily understand it. It's a big deal in this world, though, so that's why we're looking at Strategy today. Plus 2.30% right now because they're no longer removing digital asset treasury companies from their MSCI indexes. That company's not doing it, which means they're still going to be available on there. Strategy's up that 2.35%. Now let's go local. Let's go solar. Let's go First Solar out there, folks, is our next stock. They're down about 10%, 10.02% right now. Jeffries actually downgraded the stock from hold. It was at buy before. And reason why though, they cited questionable strategic decisions and limited booking visibility, meaning they don't see a lot of bookings coming their way, or they're very limited bookings, meaning in terms of jobs and things to that effect. First Solar, if you don't know, manufactures solar panels out there. But the bigger thing is questionable strategic decisions is what I'm more curious about because we all know people aren't getting solar as much as they used to with those rebates going away. So limited booking visibility isn't a surprise to me. But what do they mean by questionable strategic decisions? Also, Jeffries, that the investment bank, they lowered its price target of this stock. It was at 200. I'm sorry, it was at $269. Well, they lowered it down to $260 as well. So they're not expecting as much of an upside as they once did there as well. And basically, if you do the math, that's about a 3% dip is what they are expecting. And today it's down 10.05% on a 1 day figure for First Solar out there. Now let's look at GameStop here as well. For those of you that do the meme stock stuff and pay attention to these companies, well, GameStop is up today, 3.63%. Not being driven up by made up stuff like the meme stock trends were, not being driven up for any of those reasons. Well, GameStop said, and they unveiled their compensation package for their CEO. It includes objectives to grow the company to $100 billion in valuation out there. So he's got objectives and he's got incentives here to grow this company, GameStop. Well, investors obviously like the incentive package for their CEO because it's up 3.58% here today for GameStop out there. Now let's get into some local stories that we need to fill you in on. And, Lucid Group is here. There's been this deal in place for a while. Well, Lucid Group, specifically in terms of its production, well, they're going to begin that production here in Arizona later this year. These are those robo taxis. And these robo taxis are the ones being developed with Uber Technologies and a company called Neuro out there. Neuro is a California based electric vehicle company, if you don't know who they are out there. So, this was all an announcement that came out on Monday of this week. All these companies started testing engineering prototypes of the robo taxis last month. They did that up in San Francisco specifically. So, it's a big, important milestone in the development and validation of the service that they want to unroll in big numbers, right? They want to launch in the Bay Area in late 2026 is their plan. They're just trying to decide on the setup, the development of the cars, etc. What they're looking at. Neuro is leading the testing, excuse me, more so than Uber is, as well as and then giving the feedback back to Lucid. And Neuro is supervised by the autonomous vehicle operators, and kind of working together as these three companies to get this done. So, what's up next? In the coming months, more than 100 Lucid Gravity vehicles will join the fleet as these companies continue to validate the robotaxi service. So, it's not just making sure the vehicles are right and work right. Is the service wanted? Is the service needed for the Uber side of things there? But local manufacturer, right? Lucid, they're right down there outside of Casa Grande or in Casa Grande. I don't know if they're in Casa Grande, but down there by there. Going to be coming off of that line here as well. So you might see those cars kind of rolling around down there in that area. Earlier on the show, we talked about oil prices nationally, and we told you the Arizona expectation from Gas Buddy out there. One thing that could cause a giant wrench in our gas prices here, specifically in Maricopa County, California's continued closures of oil refinery sites over there in California. So there's been another recent closure of a California oil refinery. There's another one planning to shut down in the near future and just go away. That's the Chevron one as well. Well, all of that, of course, has experts and anybody that knows that we get most of our fuel and gas from California here in Maricopa County. That's going to lead to fuel shortages, price spikes, not just here, but also in Nevada, for instance. Nevada's a big receiver of California gas and oil refineries over there as well. So if you want to get down to the numbers, right, Nevada specifically, 88% of their fuel is received from California supplies. That's diesel jet fuel for their airport there in Las Vegas and up in Reno as well. So, if you don't know, Phillips 66 ended up closing the refinery in Los Angeles there in October. Earlier this year, Valero submitted a notice that it plans to close a Bay Area refinery by April of 2026. Chevron moved out of the area last year or so as well. But those two specific refineries produce 284,000 barrels of oil a day. That's about 17% of the state's refining capacity. That's at 17%. There are several reasons for refinery closures, right? A lot of it is just age of them, not being able to restore them, but obviously politics, laws, etc. Is a big deal of it as well. California is trying to achieve net zero carbon emissions by 2045, which means they're going to slash their oil usage out there. California doesn't want you driving there and driving around there, and etc. 4 decades ago, this is how much it's changed. More than 40 refineries operated in California. Yeah, now California's on pace to just have 7 by the end of 2026. High operating costs, regulatory compliance costs, political environment reasons as well are all big drivers in this going away. Like I said, the problem with it is Arizona gets most of their fuel from California. As I just told you, Nevada gets 88%. Now there's this new pipeline that's going to be built that's going to get us gas from Texas. That'll help us out here as well. But this could throw a wrench here into our Arizona gas prices as we continue to get that fuel over there from California as well. So it's something to keep an eye on here coming up with our talk earlier of gas prices and Gas Buddy's expectation that we'll be in the $3.09 to what was it, $3.36, something to that effect here this year. This could be a big wrinkle out there as well from the California side. So keep your eyes on that. And hey, I got a flashing news, breaking news for you out there, everybody. McDonald's food might not be real. The McRib specifically might not be actual ribs, folks. Now, there's a lawsuit out there, but McDonald's is kind of fighting this and pushing back against claims in this class action lawsuit. And the class action claim is that McDonald's misled customers by advertising the McRib as a rib meat sandwich. Yes, they say that the McRib actually comes from other pork cuts instead of the specific rib area. McDonald's, of course, says the McRib is made of seasoned boneless pork, dipped into tangy barbecue sauce, topped with slivery onions and tangy pickles. It's served on a toasted home-style bun. Never had one. It looks disgusting. And I haven't had one also because I love ribs, but I would never eat something with fake ribs, to be honest with you. And that's what it looks like. The lawyers in this lawsuit, though, they argue that a McRib is an inaccurate representation of what's actually in the sandwich. So this lawsuit came out here, and it was filed on behalf of 4 plaintiffs in December, end of December, 23rd to be exact. And it was filed in, Illinois' court system up there. Despite its name and distinctive shape, the lawsuit says, its meat patty has been deliberately crafted to resemble a rack of pork ribs. The McRib does not contain any actual pork rib meat at all. That's what they wrote in that lawsuit. The lawsuit does go on to allege that the company has used ground-up portions of lower-grade pork products, things like pork shoulder, heart, tripe, scalded stomach. Have a McRib, everybody. Yeah, they say that they put that all together to make the meat patty, according to the lawsuit. Obviously, McDonald's denies this. McDonald's USA said in a statement to USA Today, and this statement yesterday, Monday actually, is when this statement came out. They said that the lawsuit, quote, distorts the facts and many of the claims are inaccurate, unquote. They went on to say, quote, we're committed to using real quality ingredients across our entire menu. Yeah, well, okay. Have you anybody eaten McDonald's lately? Hey, our fan favorite McRib sandwich, they went on to say, is made with 100% pork sourced from farmers and suppliers across the United States. We've always been transparent about our ingredients so guests can make the right choice for them. And they even say, go to McDonald's.com to find out what's in their products out there. So I don't know what's going to come of this lawsuit. I just find it interesting that people thought the McRib had real pork in it. I just assumed it didn't. Maybe it's just me being skeptical out there, folks. And finally, we talked about, a lot of things today. Let's just put it that way. Let's talk about some scented candles now. Let's wrap up the show with this here. Everybody thinks like the smell of pizza, fresh baked pizza smells good, right? You walk by a pizza store and you go, gotta have some of that. You like ranch, right? I like the smell of ranch. I like ranch with certain pizzas, certain types of pizzas, not all of them. But I've never thought of having a pizza and ranch candle out there. Well, Bath and Body Works over the holidays, folks, it is sold out. We're going back a little bit. They did come out with a candle. Bath and Body Works did. As part of its Perfect Pairings collection. They did all this for Candle Day 2025. Shoppers, though, they shared their hot takes on the fragrance. And this pizza and ranch candle was advertised as it has the smell notes of, quote, gooey cheese, crispy pepperonis, and ranch, unquote. According to a Bath and Body Works press release, the Perfect Pairings candle collection features fun and expected foodie fragrances. It's not just pizza and ranch that they came out with. Other scents are out there as well. Coffee and donuts, chips and salsa, popcorn and slushy. That one I don't get. As of January 5th, only the chips and salsa candle remained available for order at the Bath & Body Works website. I would think that would have been one of the quick ones to go, to be honest with you. Who doesn't love chips and salsa? That specific one, if you're interested, if it's still there a couple days later, we're 2 days past that date, but it's a 3-wick candle. It's scented like bottomless tortilla chips and fresh salsa. That's how they describe it. There's a pickle one as well out there that they came out with. Even though it's not part of that category, they do have a pickle scented one. Many people, though, specifically, there's some negative reviews on all the candles, but the pizza and ranch one was specifically just railed upon. Most were not impressed with that pizza and ranch candle. Yes. An official Bath & Body Works TikTok video promoted the pizza and ranch candle. Well, if you go find that, folks, you will love the comments ripping this candle. Some of them I can't say on air. Some of them are pretty descriptive. One that I'll tell you about that kind of made me giggle. It said, I literally almost puked in the store. Hope this helps. That was one TikTok user talking about. Another one said this should have been an April Fool's release out there. Some of them get pretty descriptive, folks, on what it tastes, what it smells like out there. Now, it is sold out. They have no plans to restock the Perfect Pairing candles. They were released as limited edition products for Candle Day 2025. Interesting enough, they sold out of every of them except for the chips and salsa one as of Monday. I did not check today, folks, just so you know. Now, they might still be there. They're not restocking them, but there was negative reaction to these candles. Negative reaction to these candles. And what I don't get is you test them out, right? Somebody in the corporate office or multiple people went, that smells good. And then overwhelming comments about those candles were negative. But they still sold out. So who's wrong in that situation? All right, folks? Did you get yourself a pizza and a ranch candle? Did you? Did you get a popcorn and slushy one? Reach out to me. Let me know how they were if you ended up getting those over the holidays as well. I'm kind of curious on your thoughts on that out there as well, folks. Appreciate you joining me here for McCollum on Business here on this Wednesday. We'll be back Thursday, tomorrow, 11 o'clock, of course. Here, catch all the shows on demand here at Robat TV on the YouTube page as well. And if they have podcasts, this is the only one that doesn't. If they have podcasts, check out the podcast as well. Would you share us with your friends? We'd appreciate it. We'll see you tomorrow, 8 a.m. tomorrow for the main event live here at Robat TV. Otherwise, catch the on-demands tonight. And we'll see you tomorrow, everybody, here at McCollum on Business.